Hi, I'm Dr. Rena Malik, urologist and pelvic surgeon, and welcome to my YouTube channel where you can learn everything you ever wanted to or maybe didn't want to know about urology. Today, I'm reacting to the YouTube sensation Good Mythical Morning episode where Link and Rhett document their experience getting a vasectomy. Kudos to these guys to being brave enough to share such an intimate experience in front of a public audience. This is a really big deal and a great step in the right direction for teaching men options for contraception when they're done with family planning and demystifying the whole scary experience. So I'm really excited to watch, and please, if you like what you see, make sure you give me a big thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss my new videos, and I come out with new videos every Monday.
We got a brosectomy. Let's talk about that.
What's a brosectomy? All right, well, we're going to find out.
Good mythical morning. We both have a beautiful brood of children, and we love them very much. But at a certain point, it's time to say, enough is enough, and get your junk snuffed.
Now, for those of you who don't know, a vasectomy is when the doctor cuts some little tubes in your McDonald's ball pit as a permanent birth control method.
What kind of ball pit only has two? That's a lame ball pit.
Mine. And but you know what? It's also a great time to connect with your best friend.
Yeah, it is. So what we did is we documented the entire procedure and process of us getting vasectomies. Not at the exact same time, but in rapid succession while being in the same room with each other the whole time.
Yes.
And we brought cameras along, which means, mythical beast, we brought you along.
These guys are hilarious. So that's amazing that they were willing to go not only with each other, but with a whole camera crew with them into a vasectomy. I will be honest with you, I have never seen somebody come with somebody else to a vasectomy. In fact, most guys just want to be all by themselves during that situation. So this is really takes a lot of guts, and I got to give these guys mad props for doing that. So moving on to the medical part, these guys are exactly correct. A vasectomy is a procedure that's done to remove a part of the tube called the vas deferens. And this tube carries semen from the testes to the ejaculatory duct, allowing it to enter the semen. This is essentially a non-reversible form of sterilization. So like these guys mentioned, you got to be sure you're done having kids and you're not going to have any more.
When he got a vasectomy, he was like, one of mine swelled up afterward the size of a grapefruit.
So yeah, sometimes after any sort of scrotal surgery or vasectomy, you can have scrotal swelling afterwards. Generally speaking, I recommend that patients use a rolled up towel when they're either sitting or lying in bed and kind of put it underneath the scrotum to help prevent swelling. Also using ice packs or frozen peas rolled up in a towel can be really helpful to prevent that sort of swelling. But you know, the scrotum has a lot of space in it, and so if any fluid or bleeding happens in the scrotum, it can swell up to be pretty big. And usually it's not a big deal, it's just very uncomfortable. So as long as you're trying to do all the things that I mentioned to help prevent swelling, hopefully you won't have any of those issues happen to you.
People are probably wondering, what is this for? That's to keep Mr. Happy out of the way and happy. Okay, here we go. So now I'm gonna take this little razor, and you may think this is gonna be horrible, but these are kind of designed for a little dry shave, and I'm just gonna shave off a little quarter size here. Just a little, that's it. Good, yeah. Okay, one more. All right, so I'm just gonna do a little exam. I'm feeling around on my sterile field.
Feel that?
Little pinch and a burn, boom. There we go. Another Roscoe.
Yeah.
You're gonna feel a little puncture. There it is. Do you feel that?
I can't tell.
Well, that's the idea, I guess.
He just popped his balloon.
I just made a little puncture in the skin.
He's made the hole.
So you do one hole and get both sides?
Can't tell you how I do that.
Is that patented?
That is correct. So you're gonna feel something. You may feel a little more. Here we go. Also, just for those of you lovelies at home, once you have a vasectomy, it will make no difference in the quantity of semen, since sperm only represents about 5% quantitatively of what is in the semen.
So the mailman is going to be delivering packages.
Well, he could be delivering packages, but the packages will be empty.
So I don't know this urologist, but he is doing an excellent job talking to the patients and explaining to them every step he's doing, and that's absolutely what you should expect from your urologist. So I'm going to kind of go through the steps, but he did a really great job talking about all of them. Typically, we start off, one thing he didn't mention is we'll usually wash the area with some sort of antiseptic solution, either betadine or chlorhexidine, to kind of clean off the area. And then we'll go ahead and shave, as he mentioned, using a razor. And then you'll start with an exam. So you want to actually isolate the vas. And when we're taught how to do a vasectomy, we actually are told to feel for like a spaghetti string or a spaghetti noodle type tubular structure. Once we find the vas, we actually numb the skin right over the vas, as well as alongside the vas, called a vasal block, using local anesthesia. And this makes it very comfortable to go through the procedure. You may feel some tugging or pulling during the procedure, but typically you shouldn't feel anything sharp or painful. He also used what's called a no scalpel technique. So you can either use a scalpel or knife to cut the skin, or you can use a very sharp instrument that actually makes a poke hole in the scrotum. Either of these techniques are very appropriate and great options for vasectomies.
We will now clip the proximal limb of the vas deferens, and that is now done.
Oh, I saw a little bit of a cord.
Hold me, Link.
That is clammy, man. This is how we do it.
I am now going to cauterize your vas deferens. You will not only hear the sound of cautery, I'm going to actually...
You're burning it.
The smell is usually the most memorable. What do they say? Like you have
80% of taste. I feel like I'm tasting my
Oh,
own
the
balls
smell.
right now.
That's
Ooh,
yeah.
it just hit me. I've never wanted to smell your balls before. Definitely not from the
You
inside.
should see the guys shooting your camera.
Don't lock your knees, guys. Whatever you do.
I don't think they're gonna make it.
It kind of smells like marshmallows.
Marshmallows, huh? So, so moving on with the technique, you'll typically transect the vas or cut it, and then you can clip it like this urologist did, or what I do is to typically tie it off and actually point the end of the vas away from the other end so that they don't recanalize. That's the risk with any vasectomy, is that they recanalize. And you also take a little piece of vas and actually remove it to also kind of separate the ends from each other. Yes, you do also cauterize it, which is a fancy word for burn it. And so that is something that you may smell when it happens. Typically, it's not that strong of a smell, and I don't really hear a lot of patients commenting on it. They usually hear the noise of the cautery more than smell it.
Describe what it feels like, because I'd like to know.
It feels like I had a yo-yo down there, and I didn't know about it until the doctor pulled it out, like a Dunkin' special.
Oh, he's burning again.
Now he's burning the yo-yo string.
By the way, do we want to actually, for posterity and fame, show people the piece of vas deferens?
Absolutely, yes.
This would be it. It's like a piece of al dente pasta.
There's the al dente pasta! Yes, so absolutely, that's exactly what it looks like. They do talk about the feeling you get when you're doing the vasectomy, and I've heard all sorts of different things. It's usually like a tugging or a pulling sensation. Some people get that feeling like when you get kicked in the balls and you get that feeling inside your gut, sometimes a little bit of nausea. But the good news is that this feeling only lasts for a couple minutes and goes away once we're done with the procedure. So it's really not a prolonged, uncomfortable sensation. It is very, very short and typically very easily manageable.
The thing is, you go your whole life instinctively protecting these berries. And now here I am, just spreading my legs, putting them on a platter for some guy that I just met once to fondle, poke, prod, and pull, snip, burn, and shove, and then pat me on the back. It's just unnatural.
Yeah, but it's not like he's a sushi chef. He's a doctor. He's been educated in this. He's done this before. He's already done this today to me and another guy.
So I think, so funny. So I think this is actually very, very true. I find that a lot of patients, you will do procedures on them or do a rectal exam or something uncomfortable, and they've just met you a few minutes prior, and then they get dressed and say, thank you very much. It's a very awkward feeling for them, definitely. And, you know, we're used to it, but I can totally understand why patients feel uncomfortable, feel ashamed or embarrassed when they come to the doctor. But I want you to know that we are very, very used to it, and we are professionals. As he mentioned, we train for a long time to get the privilege of taking care of you. So everything we do because we want the ultimate result to be beneficial for you.
You may feel a little bit of that tugging. You may feel the abdomen a little bit.
This is the yo-yo part.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of a weird sensation. You all right?
Ooh, that's gross, man.
Gross
It
feeling?
feels like you're taking my testicle and shoving it up into my pelvis.
I am.
It is interesting that one of the balls is completely out. Oh, that too.
Oh, this spot right here is notable.
You need to stroke my hair.
I feel like
I'm here to be stroked.
I have to say, I love that these two guys did it together. As you can see, Link is feeling this a little bit more, feeling a little bit more uncomfortable. It's so great that Rhett is there to hold his hand, let him stroke his hair.
Once upon a time, I was laying with my nuts out, and a guy walked up and said, "Oh, what's that feeling? Ooh, it feels funny. I'm just waiting to never make a baby. To make a lot of love, not worrying about having to make a baby."
That's a good one. That's good. I'm just waiting to not make a baby. I'm just waiting to make a lot of love without making a baby.
Oh, again, baby.
Nothing, right?
I would say it was something because it was not comfortable.
I mean, it wasn't pleasant. I wouldn't sign up for it every day.
Paper cuts can be worse. Sometimes if you stub your toe, oh my goodness, and not the big toe, I'm talking like when something snags at one of those middle toes. This was nothing like that.
So that was probably the best ballad about vasectomies I've ever heard. So great job. I really liked it. It was pretty catchy. As you can see, it wasn't super comfortable, but a paper cut or stubbing your toe real bad can actually be more painful than a vasectomy. So have you had a paper cut? Probably. Have you stubbed your toe before? Probably. So can you get through a vasectomy? Most definitely. So there's a lot of anxiety surrounding it, but as you can see, it's really very tolerable, very doable. As you can see, Rhett is already done and sitting there totally normal and seems very comfortable. So as you can see, you go back to your normal self pretty quickly. The recovery for a vasectomy is generally very straightforward. You lay low for a couple days, kind of relax, with some frozen peas or some ice packs and some rolled up towels underneath your scrotum. Typically, a lot of guys like to do this around major sporting events, so sometimes urologists have deals around March Madness so that you can use it as a reason to kind of hang out and watch a bunch of basketball. But really, it's not a huge recovery. Typically, you're back to your feet in a day or two, sometimes maximum 3 days, but really there's not a whole lot of downtime. You can go back to your normal activities in about a week or so as far as exercise and things like that. And overall, there's very little pain. The risks are very, very low. And so if you are done with your family planning and you feel like you're ready for some form of permanent contraception, please consider a vasectomy. And ladies, if you are in a committed monogamous relationship, please encourage your partner to get a vasectomy over getting a tubal ligation because it is much safer and much more minimally invasive for a guy to go through that than rather you having a tubal ligation, which can be a little bit more risky. All right, that's all, folks. Thanks so much for watching. Please let me know what you thought, what else you'd like me to react to, and always remember to take care of yourself because you're worth it.